background noises, it doesn't interrupt. But,
Okay, great.
so if you talk to me, give me a second to reply.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
All right, at 6 o'clock, we will start the meeting with roll call.
Mr. West?
Here.
Miss Reynolds?
Here.
Miss Botkins?
Here.
Miss Watkins?
Here.
Miss Flint?
Here.
Mr. LaTurner?
Here.
Mr. Nolan?
President on the phone?
If you all please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first on the agenda, we have meeting minutes of regular meeting on July 18th and special meeting on July 25th. Any questions on the minutes?
Move to place minutes on file.
We have a motion by Ms. Watkins to approve the minutes,
Second.
second by Ms. Reynolds. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have appropriations of $88,379.16. Any questions on the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
We have a motion by Bob LaTurner,
Second.
second by Nancy Flint to pay the bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Our city attorney is on vacation this week, so she will not be joining us. I'm going to skip down. Mr. Horner, come on up. Yes, sir.
Yes, we're just gonna see if we could get the roads vacated up on Barnes from property I just purchased. It dead ends at the back of our property. And then there's an alleyway that runs through that also dead ends for property that I just purchased.
So what roads are you wanting to vacate?
Mr. Reed, could you explain that better? How
I'm
that
gonna
is?
look at a map so I get it right here.
Okay. So he came up and looked at it with me. So it's the northern part of Barnes, and then the alleyway to the most west part of Barnes. They both dead end and they've never been maintained or anything. I just took multiple trees and vegetation out of it in order to even access the property.
But you're just wanting the northern, just the part in front of your property, right? Not the part that goes all the way out to Forest.
Correct.
That would close off your access if.
Right, yeah, just from the property line back to where it ends city limits and goes to county. And then the alleyway that goes from where Barnes comes in out to where it dead ends again.
County property doesn't start until the cemetery, doesn't it?
Yeah, north of the cemetery.
Okay, I was misinformed on that then. There's only one roadway back there still that shows on the mapping for Cherokee County, and it all dead ends and none of it's been ever cleaned or cleared or roadway or nothing.
But you're just talking about the northern section of Barnes between the alley and then that next road to the north and then the alley, right?
Correct.
Leaving that other road open.
Correct.
Okay. So just be this section here on the east side of his property and that alley right there.
So who are all those property owners?
They're mean, it's all vacant property. There's actually some
There's a person got a cabin back there.
encroachments and things.
Yeah, he has a roadway that comes off from back there that he's always used to access it. That he still has access to all that and all of his acreage back there. He's never used
It
that
was one
front
of the things
road.
to Put it up on the screen, but I'm not logged in.
So this road right here.
Yep, just this section from here to here.
What about this property?
FFF Holdings, they would have access off of this next road. Or this side road.
And if the road was divided, they would still have actual access because the frontage road would still be there. So they would still come all the way up to the property and then that road would be divided. They would still have full access to their property on that side also.
Okay. So it looks like the property he owns, or are you the owner?
I'm buying it, yes.
You're
From
in
Alfred.
process of buying it?
Yeah, I've already actually got a contract and everything and already paying on it and everything.
Okay. So there's a block maybe?
There's a block, there's neighbors on both sides of the road that need to be involved in this decision. And by doing this before he actually owns the property, I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse.
Okay.
You've bought
I
it,
have
right?
the-
I've
this is
done
personal to me.
purchased the property, yes.
This is I can throw a rock and hit this, so, from my backyard.
Oh, it's close to you.
So
Okay.
I'm pretty familiar with everything.
I was
Okay.
gonna suggest like a land, I don't know if we have a land committee, but a land committee look at it or something like a utility committee look at it and
Yeah.
actually have maps to bring back and show the rest of the council what's involved.
Okay.
I have a question for you. My information was that you wanted us to vacate the property itself that you're in the process of buying from the city limits.
No, that was never discussed. I'm trying to have it changed so that way I can put in a tow lot because I own a towing company, which is on the agenda for the 11th due to the letter having to go out. But we're trying to vacate that road and then,
So you want to de-annex it?
Yeah, it says vacate property to outside city limits is how she wrote it down, that she put on the agenda that you stated to her.
I told her vacate roads.
She put outside city limits. She wouldn't have put that if he was just vacating a road. I mean, maybe there was miscommunication, but that's how she understood it. And then you did state to me that, could you annex out of the city limits?
Right, yeah, I'd asked about it because I was told that that back property became county. But what Mr., sorry, how do you pronounce your last name?
LaTurner.
Turner is saying is that's not county back there, that it's still city. So, and I was told by her that there was no way that they would annex it to county anyway, so I told her, okay, then never mind.
So, Mr. LaTurner, would you like to see it in a committee first
Absolutely, yeah.
and then maybe talk to the surrounding landowners?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need that in a motion?
I don't know, I can, which committee did you want it to go to?
Probably utilities. Yeah. I don't think we have land. But they can look it over, because that would also be something they should look at or get with Josh with, if that would be affecting anything. So, do you want to make that a motion just so it's clear to everybody?
I don't know.
That'll go to committee. Committee will look it
I'll make
over.
a motion that we take this matter before the Utilities Committee.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. LaTurner, a second by Mr. West, for further discussion and communication to happen with the Utilities Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
So they will set, the city clerk will get with the committee members, they'll set a date, and then she can let you know, so that way you could be there if you would like.
Okay, if we can't get that vacated, how do I get it to where the city will maintain it then, since it's a city roadway?
Probably just talk to Josh.
Okay,
I don't know.
all right, I'll
Don't
get
hate
with
me,
Josh on
Josh.
it.
Well, we'll set the meeting up and then.
Yeah, we'll just go
invite
from
you
there
and-
first, from the meet.
Well, let's have that communication first and see what we can come up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Sound good?
thank you.
Thank you.
You.
I'll just get a letter on it for Wayne.
Yeah, or, do you want to leave your number? If- Okay, we can get your number and let you know.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Ashley,
Yeah.
can I ask a question? Since he does not own the property, and we've got it set up for a meeting on the 11th, can I proceed with that meeting, or do I need to wait until?
Well, now he just said he's already purchased the property.
Let me
So I'm
interject.
confused.
So, the gentleman that owns the property is the one that set up the zoning meeting.
Okay, so he has to be there.
Yes, he has to be there, not him.
He won't be there because he'll be at Sturgis.
Well, he's the one that owns the property, and he's the one that's asking for the zoning.
Yeah, the individual that owns the property has to be there, that's why I asked.
Well, I have my contract that I bought it from him,
But
for buying it.
if the property's not in your name, how does that go?
Well, I would think it'd be, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I would think it'd be just like purchasing from a bank, you know, it's your property that you're making a payment on, and he's under contract with the owner, right?
But in that instance, though, it's in his name, and this is, it's not when you're owner financing, it's in.
Oh, I see.
Like if
So
it's
it's still
purchasing
in,
from a bank, it would.
so it's still
already
in
be
the
his
seller's
name.
name, and you're
Yeah.
just making payments until it's done, and then it's gonna go in your name?
Yes,
So there's no lien on the property with your name on it?
no.
Okay, now I understand. Yeah, that's a
Maybe
sticky
that's something we
wicket
should
for
ask
everybody.
Candace when she gets back. She's not accessible right now by phone. But we can ask her. When is that meeting scheduled? Of this month?
Yes.
Okay, I think she's back on Saturday.
Well, we're gonna have to reschedule it if he has to be present, and I
Right.
can't be because he won't be in.
Right. And that's a question, I don't know that answer, right now. So as soon as we find that out, we can communicate that with you. In the meantime, I think we could probably move forward on the committee meeting, and see what is discussed there.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Are the property owners, the other property owners that concerns this,
I got lots of concerns.
so they've already voiced their opinion to you? Might be good for them to come to that meeting too.
When he talked to me, he was building a house. Now he's putting a business in.
Junkyard.
Oh,
Towing.
And towing.
Speak to that.
Sure.
An M2, which is an industrial, is the only piece of property that they can put a junkyard on in this town. We purposely went from a residential to a commercial, C2, so he could run his business of pulling cars and what have you. And he assured me that he wouldn't have over 4 to 5 cars on the property at any given time. And so Renee and I talked about it, instead of rezoning that to industrial out there, we chose to do it as a C2. So he could
His-
never have a junkyard on that property.
He
Gotcha.
states it's a towing business, is all it
Yeah,
is.
a towing business is what he's applying for.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. And, you know, it kind of scares me when he talks about vacating things and moving off to the county, because if he gets in the county, he can do whatever he wants to.
Yeah, that's well within the city limits, so it's not, that's not an issue, or that's not something that we're gonna entertain, so.
Okay. But we'll go ahead and move forward with the committee meeting and
Sure.
discuss, see what's going on there. All right. Department heads. Josh.
all I have is an invoice from Mr. Pump for the well repair. You guys approved all of the other stuff and instructed where it should come out of. We talked about the ARPA funds for the well improvements. This is for the actual repair that's gonna be covered, should be covered under insurance. I've submitted everything to the insurance company, just waiting to hear back from them. We've got the invoice for replacing the well pump for $56,708. And, Renee didn't know where we should take that out of because we have already pretty much used up. I told her we pretty much used up the ARPA funds that we allocated last year, plus special water, so,
This is going to be covered by the insurance
should
check,
be.
though?
I mean, that's always a gamble, but
So
it
we just
should
need to
be.
pay it
We
and
need to-
wait on the
We need to pay it
insurance.
and then figure out where, and I would suggest taking it out of the landfill closure fund and then paying it back, since we are over the 800,000, and this wouldn't put us under.
And then we can just, when we get the insurance check,
Put it back when it gets reimbursed.
Well, I'll make a motion that we, make that payment out of the fund that you're talking about, what was that called again?
It's the landfill
Landfill fund?
money.
And then once the insurance payment comes back in, then we'll replenish the landfill.
Unless the
fund.
city clerk sees any
Okay.
issue with that.
Do you see an issue with that?
Well, it's a water payment, it's payment on a water,
We have to be transferred to general first.
you
for
have to
water,
transfer it up to general and then
Down to water.
down to water.
Is that, you need that in a motion?
Yes.
So transfer from the landfill fund to the general fund to pay this bill for this pump repair and replacement. And then
general
once,
And then
to
general to
general.
water.
and then once it comes back, yeah, general to water. And then once it comes back, I guess we do everything in reverse, right? To get it back
Yes.
into the fund.
Yep.
Okay, that's my
Okay,
motion.
so we have a motion by Mr. West to pay the Mr. Pump invoice and to take it out of landfill, transfer the money to the general, then the general down to the water fund to pay it, and then once the insurance check comes in, just do that in reverse to pay back the landfill fund. Correct?
That sounds right.
With the exception, we'd transfer it maybe to special water or general because we don't have the budgeted funds in transfers. Transfers affect our budget. So if we transfer into and then pay out of, transfer into doesn't increase your spending authority. So when you then pay out of that, you've used $57,000 worth of your budget that you didn't budget for. So special water is non-budgeted, and that's probably the better fund to put it in and take it
From
out
the
of.
general to special water
Mhm.
instead of just water.
I'll amend that.
Okay. So let me restate that again.
Yeah.
Mr. West made a motion to pay the Mr. Pump invoice of $56,708 to come from the landfill fund, transferred to the general, and then the general to the special water fund. And then after the insurance check comes back in, we will then do the reverse and replenish the landfill fund.
Yep.
Does that sound right? Okay.
I'll second that.
I think Paul
I
did.
think, yeah, I think Paul Nolan
second.
said it.
Oh, he did? Okay. We have a second by Paul Nolan. All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Can we do a roll call?
Yeah, we'll do a roll call vote since we just had the one,
It was an emergency, we just had one.
yeah, one
We
bill.
don't need a roll call vote on that.
You don't?
Are we good? Okay. Okay, we won't do a roll call. All in favor? Did I do that part?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, it covers us even if I didn't. All right, anything else?
Nope.
All right, fire department.
Just kind of give you some, we end up with 45 runs last month, which was up significantly from the month before. We're at about 235 for the year, which is up about 10% from last year. So the rain did help over the weekend, but I don't think it's good enough to help us long-term, so. We did secure a couple of grants. We've got one from Nutrien for 2,000 that we're gonna finish buying the power tools that we need for Rescue One, and we also secured a $2,500 grant from the forestry, which we're gonna purchase 3 additional airbags and a vehicle stabilization kit. And we shouldn't have to use any funds for any of that, so that will happen next couple of weeks. We've got Brush One back in service, so the bed that we purchased and all the equipment that we were able to move over is on the 2006 Ford 550, so it's back in service, which is good.
Awesome.
And I had mentioned this a couple of months ago. We were looking at replacing at some point Brush 3, which is a 2008 F-250 with just a 300-gallon tank. So we've made a couple of inquiries, and like everything else, they're long-term, they're a long ways out on equipment. So I would like to get just the initial council's okay if we can move forward with looking at something to replace Brush 3 bed only in 2023. We wouldn't really be obligated if that date comes and we can't get the funding, but we would be in line for it. So we would have an opportunity between now and probably March to figure out, we've got township money coming in, so we've got the available funds, but at least to get on the list to, and like I said, there's really no harm in it, because if they come to that and we're next in line and we can't afford it, they just move to the next person and we're done, so. But I would like to get the approval to at least
Start
get on
looking.
the list, so.
What do you all think?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, seems like everywhere we go to purchase something, we've got a waiting
Oh,
list.
yeah, big time waiting list.
And like Steve said, you know, no harm, no foul. If the funding's not available, it'll just go to the next person on the list. So I'll make a motion.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. West to, I guess, allow the fire department to get their name on a list for next year.
To replace the,
Yeah, to replace the bed of brush
3.
3.
Second.
Second, was that Chastity? Okay, second by Ms. Reynolds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
that it?
Yep.
Chief Charles?
Josh Davis graduated from the academy on Friday. He's up and going, so you see a new guy up and about. He's ours.
Awesome.
That's all.
If you want to have him come to the next council meeting and meet everybody. You're like,
Just got off.
Yeah, you're like, he don't want to.
I forgot. Think about it, I guess.
All right, Renee. I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
Didn't mean to, okay.
Mr. Rose is here to give us some information. I do have an invoice from him for the work that he's done so far on the senior citizens building. If you guys want to take a look, it looks pretty big, huge. If you have any questions, he's here for that. And I was gonna ask him if he would talk about, so the outside, the stucco for the outside of the building.
Yeah,
and then
got a
perhaps-
bid to put new stucco on all around the outside of it. I think it was what, 12/8? For all new, foam and stucco. As far as the Arkansas stone on it, I don't think we've really decided what we're doing about it. I've got a good notion to tear it off and do some like dry stack or something like that, you know, shouldn't cost a whole lot, but kind of do something to update it. And Arkansas stones, you know, I don't know, in my opinion, kind of outdated, but whatever you guys want to do.
If you go in there, you can see the sunlight between the joining, I don't know what they're called.
And concrete panels.
Concrete panels.
Yeah, that
That
building,
had a lot to do with the.
that building was a pre-formed concrete panel building where they bring in concrete panels and stand them up, bolt them together. I don't know who did it, but the gaps in between the panels had duct tape on the outside running down, covering up the gap. So
So that probably had a lot to do with the water.
we've got the inside completely gutted, the ceiling's completely gutted, all the new walls are all put back, and we're ready for electrician, plumber, and heating and air. And I'm still getting bids on heating and air.
well, Gary, what would be the price variance if you just did, you know, foam or ephes all the way down and stucco the whole structure in it when, instead of replacing that Arkansas stone or something?
Well, we're gonna have to do something with that Arkansas stone, cause it won't be flush.
Well, that's what I mean, if you're removing that and you're wanting to replace it with something else, what would be wouldn't it be just as economical to just foam that all and?
Well, you could pull that Arkansas stone and then we could strip. I haven't tore the rock off yet, but I think that them panels, where the stone is a little bit narrower than the other panels, because that Arkansas stone is pretty well flush with the other panels, except it may protrude out, maybe a half inch or an inch, something like that. So I don't know exactly what they've got until we, start tearing it off, but I'm guessing that the panels behind the Arkansas stone are thinner than the other ones. So we could tear the Arkansas stone off, go in there and strip it with 2-bys and rip it down and then sheet it, with sheeting and then foam over that, and then that way the whole building would be. I mean, yeah, we could do that.
Well, I was just mentioning that.
That'd be a little bit cheaper.
Right.
Mm.
Be more economical and it'd look clean.
And then as far as the brick there on the entry and the glass, I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, you could possibly maybe paint that brick if, we'll wait and get the stucco done, see how the brick looks, and if it, you know, looks good, we'll leave it. If nothing else, I mean, we can always paint it, you know, a color to go with the stucco. But yeah, we could do that. We could fur it out and then that way the whole building would be stucco and just get rid of the stone completely. We'll just go in there and strip it and with 2x and then sheet it and,
Yeah.
Would that look good?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It'll just look like the whole building's all stucco.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it would
look
be
fine.
cheaper?
Be cheaper than going back with, dry stack or anything.
I think it would look better if it was all the same thing anyway.
Well, that rock, I mean, it's kinda, I don't know. I mean, I'd definitely do something with it. I mean, it's the way that they've done it, you know, part of the corner's done, and they come underneath this window here, and, I mean, it's just kind of a screwy deal, but I don't think it'd take it. I mean, we got the tools to pop that rock off of there and clean it up and then fur it out and
Yeah.
then just foam over it when we do the stucco.
Right. Well, what do you guys think?
Is that within what we talked about spending? Isn't that coming out of what fund?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it'd be a good cost savings.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Now, that bed that I had him do on the drive it, that's no trim. Trying to keep the cost down, because sometimes if you go running freeze boards or, you know, up high or, you know, trim around the windows or something like that, that can get pretty pricey.
Right.
So that's just going in there and just, you know, everything's flush and, you know, as far as the texture, I mean, I can bring you guys the pamphlet and you can pick out what texture you want. And then as far as colors, I mean, it's any color. And then if I guess if anybody decides that they want to add trim or, you know, once we get started, if we add a little bit of trim or something to doll it up a little bit, but I had him bid it with no trim, just to keep the cost down.
Great.
You have our best interest in mind, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, so this bid is $22,066.36. So you all have looked at it. That's including all the materials, the demolition, the framing, and the very little bit of labor he charged for his people. And so we had discussed using some ARPA funds. We did last year vote to allocate $30,000, if I'm not mistaken, for renovations for bathrooms at the city park. That I think still should be in play eventually, maybe when some costs go down. But my opinion, and you all can think differently, would be to maybe reallocate that and use that, what was set aside for this project. I mean, it's still sitting in the ARPA fund, but you know, Josh has his crew has tons of projects to get to, and we're ending out the summer, and so not that we're neglecting that project because obviously we saw it needed, but maybe we can get to it later. So what do you all think?
Like, you mean next year, next season or something?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know, you know, really what the restrooms look like down at the park, so I'm sure they're needed and, you know, we voted on it and everything. If the funds are, so if we didn't transfer those funds from this project and we didn't do the bathrooms this year, those funds would still be in that ARPA fund, correct?
Yeah,
We don't even have a plan for the restrooms yet.
yeah,
They were just set aside, and Renee was working on that project and the senior center.
Yeah.
And this is the
but
one
this
that-
kind of happened quicker than
Sure.
obviously the bathroom, so.
Well, then I think it's a no-brainer. I think we should utilize that since doesn't look like it's on the list for 2022.
It is not on my
So-
list at all.
So since it's not on the list for 2022, even though we budgeted for it, right?
Well, we didn't really, yeah, it's
Well,
not
we
a
appropriated
budgeted
for it.
amount.
We-
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
So, yeah, I would be willing to do
To
that.
just kind of reallocate that? Okay, so is that a motion?
That is a motion.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. West to reallocate the designated 30,000 for the restroom renovation to go toward the senior center renovation.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Laturner. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so now we need an invoice to use that to cover this. This invoice that Mr. Rose sent.
Did Paul chime in? I didn't hear him.
I think you did. Paul, can you still hear us?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Does that
Thank
include
you.
the stucco? Or is that another one?
No, it doesn't include.
Yeah, it doesn't include it.
Or the air units.
Okay, so would anybody like to?
May I have a question?
Yes.
Doesn't this change require a new scope of work? You have a bid with him, a contract?
Well, he's been the one doing the work.
That's not what I asked you. Do you have a bid from him and a contract?
We don't have a contract with him, no.
So he's just doing the work?
Yeah. I mean, like, we've hired him out to do the work.
Who? Who hired him? Oh. Okay, so this is work on city property, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't go out to bid on it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So would anybody like to pay this invoice?
Move to pay.
We have a motion by Ms. Watkins,
Second.
a second by Mr. Laturner.
Thought about it, but it didn't come out.
All in favor?
Aye.
Paul, are you there?
Yes.
Did you vote, or, sorry, any opposed? What'd you say?
Mine was not.
Okay. Any opposed? All right. Thank you. All right, Mads.
No, I'm still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that was still you, sorry. Hang on, Mads. Oh, you're just here to say hi? Okay.
So there was, the renewal for the insurance did not include our cyber insurance, on our property. So the cyber insurance, they sent us a renewal amount for the cyber insurance. It's $3,164. He said that the company that they bid the rest of our insurance didn't have the cyber insurance, so I had to bid for the cyber insurance. If you wanna take a look at that.
Is this through Ryan?
Yes, it's through Ryan, but, they're just our, what do you call that?
Yeah. Almost like the middleman,
Yes.
whatever that's called.
Broker.
Broker, yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
And this is for the full year?
Trish, is that 6 months or full, the whole year? Year, yes, annual.
I know it said on there 6 months, but you're saying that the 3,100's for the full year?
It says down below 12.
Perfect.
You don't follow it.
What's the 6 months then?
That's the indemnity period. But the policy
Indemnity.
period is 12.
Okay. Perfect.
Sticky note. I think
Doggone sticky note.
And then,
You want to hand that to me?
yeah, we need a motion to pay that.
Do you guys want to look at
Oh,
it?
I'm sorry. I forgot about it. You guys have an idea.
Is this commensurate with what we've been paying in the past, or?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I think last year was the first year, or maybe the year before was the first year we got cyber insurance.
Probably a 1 or 2% increase from the last time we voted it in. You believe it.
Yeah, I believe it.
Bad Joplin paid a lot
I totally believe it.
because they didn't have it.
Okay, so would anybody like to renew the cyber insurance with Acrisure?
I'll make that motion.
Acrisure Cyber. 1 year, $31.64.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to renew the insurance from Mr. West,
Second.
a second by Ms. Reynolds. Let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Botkin?
Yes.
Ms. Watkin?
Yes.
Ms. Flint?
Yes.
Mr. Laturner?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
One more thing. I'd like to ask to set up some finance meetings, in regards to the budget. We need to get the budget worked out. I don't know if you guys want to do it per department head or have all department heads come at once. I can contact the finance committee and, set them up, but I would like to put it out there that we need to start on our budgets so that we can get it corrected and get the mill levy lowered.
Well, would the finance committee prefer to do department heads individually or altogether?
Well, I think it'd be better if they were done all together so that if there was any,
And less meetings?
and less meetings, but any kind of connection between the two departments, that could be explained and, by the department heads.
Okay, so we'll get that set up. Okay? All right, new business. Yes, ma'am.
Is it the policy of the city to not collect bids and get a written scope of work when work is done on city property, spending taxpayer dollars?
So we generally do, yes. We've used Mr. Rose for multiple things with bids, and he's proven to be trustworthy. He, somebody could correct me, but always comes in at the lowest bid for the work we've done.
We're doing it time and material. So you get a copy of all the invoices and everything. It's,
So he's doing more like
believe
a,
it or not, 9 times out of 10, you're better off to do that.
9 times out of 10, you may be better off to do that, but
Instead of
is that
getting
the
a bid,
policy of
it'd
the
be
city to
cheaper.
do that?
Well,
Because
that I don't know.
Not with
That I
ARPA
don't know.
Spending
funds, it's,
public funds,
it's
you
not
should follow
public.
the process, which is that it should be open to bids and have a scope of work. And if there's any changes, there should be change orders or an amendment to the scope of work, rather than just saying, here's $30,000.
That is the policy when it's over $50,000. Did you hear the total?
Pardon me?
Did you hear the total? It's half of the $50,000 that requires going to bid, per the policy.
Taxpayer money.
Were you here last meeting when they discussed it?
You should, what?
Were you here last meeting when they discussed it? If you were, you didn't say anything then when they went ahead and hired him.
Well, I didn't realize that was what was going on.
Might have not been last meeting, but this is all kind of a bunch of nonsense when we're following the policy.
Well, it's my money you're spending, and his money, and your money, and his money.
My
And I
money,
think that you
yep.
should follow
ARPA
the
funds that came from the federal
procedure
Yeah,
government.
it's
for the
federal
work
fund.
that's
I get-
done on
It's not,
property
it's
by-
federal
that
funds.
was-
I get what you're saying. So, did you hear what Mr. Reed said about
Yes, I heard
the cutoff, the requirement? So we're within we're within the rule, and, I think that's all we really need to say about that.
And this is ARPA funds, so this came from, it's still taxpayer money, yeah, but it came, yeah, it came from the government, so it's not like mill levy money, it's from the federal government, which again, probably came from us somewhere.
Yeah, the federal
Yeah.
government doesn't make money, it takes money.
Right.
And it takes it from
Yes,
us.
We're familiar with that.
It's still taxpayer money.
yes.
Thanks for bringing that up.
And I just would like to make sure that the work that's done is done fairly, properly, to code, so we don't have the problems in the future that we have now with the sewers and the water lines and God knows what else.
Yes, ma'am. But I can assure you, and I know you don't know this man from Adam, but Mr. Rose is top of the line. I mean, if anybody knows code, it's him.
I'm not arguing
And I know you're not saying that against him. I understand that, but
Procedure,
yes.
because, maybe there's somebody else who needed that bid also,
Sure,
but they didn't get a chance to do that.
sure.
And we did follow procedure.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so everybody is aware, we did follow procedure on that.
Okay, so you have a limit on where you can spend taxpayer money versus,
It's publicly talked about though, so it's kind of a moot point. We're not doing this behind the door. It's all right here. It's all out in the open. It's not like we're doing anything illegal here.
do you have a written contract?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay.
I don't think we're getting anywhere here. I think we've already established that we followed policy. She's not on the agenda.
Okay, we don't need to get all riled up here. We don't need to get, we gotta stay
I'm
calm.
ready to
Okay.
continue on.
Okay, so hey, we're gonna stop right there. If anybody would like further discussion, they can take it in the hall and go discuss that. Okay,
Ridiculous.
old business.
I've got a couple things.
So, old business, I wanted to talk about, when Mr. McWilliams came in,
Yes.
and he wanted to secure some property that is, it's north of where we're at. Remember the 2 acres that the gentleman wanted to purchase that was adjacent to his land? And this property that Mr. McWilliams wants runs even with that land all the way up to the northern property line. I don't know exactly how many acres it is. It appears to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10. And he came to the meeting. We discussed it. We had some conversations with him, and we told him that we would agree to the acreage price that we settled with the other gentleman, plus the
Florian,
Mr.
Yeah,
Florian,
Mr.
thank
Florian.
you, plus the additional survey fee. So that was what the committee came up with, and we're just presenting it to the,
Okay, and you've not heard back from him, I guess?
That's what that.
he was agreeable to it.
Okay,
$3,000 an acre plus up to $2,000.
Right.
To
and
survey.
this photo kind of
Okay.
depicts.
I didn't know what that was
And that
for.
still leaves property available for the things that we want to do out there.
Right.
Okay. So are we waiting to hear back from him? What?
No, we're just presenting it to the
Okay.
Our
council.
recommendation to the council to,
That was our
Okay.
recommendation from the committee.
Okay, so we have a recommendation from, what committee were you guys, Finance? Finance Committee, to give the same deal to Mr. McWilliams that was given to Mr. Florian at $3,000 per acre. And to include the survey expense,
$2,000.
up to 2,000. Would anybody like to?
I make a motion that we move forward with that.
We have a motion by Mr. Latourner to move forward with this offer to Mr. McWilliams.
Can I interject that they do the same contract that they did with Mr. Florian in regards to paying the survey, the one that you and him,
And what about that?
to make sure that before we.
Oh, they use that same one?
do a contract
Yeah,
before we do the
beforehand,
survey.
yeah.
Can I ask a question again? What is the zoning for that property?
I have to look it up, Fred, I'm not sure.
I think that he told them he's got ideas for that property, but did he really say much of?
Drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
But is it zoned for residential? Is it, would it have to go through zoning?
It would, I mean, if he wants to
Needs to
put
go through zoning.
a movie theater there, yeah, it would have to go through, yeah, yeah. Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Latourner. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
A second by Mr. West. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
One no. Mr. West, are you, or Mr. Nolan, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other old business?
I have a couple things.
Okay, did you want to? Okay,
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think she'll do that. Just want to make mention, I've been exchanging with the city for quite some time. Been a whole lot of use of the quote-unquote 5-minute rule, basically utilized by this body to prevent or otherwise limit citizen input. I've experienced it personally, and I've observed it several times with other people. 5-minute rule was set in place, and from everything I can see, its intent is to prevent any particular members of this body or a body similar to this from controlling the meeting and preventing input from other members. Not meant to limit and silence citizen input. I'd like to see the city visit that and see if there's can be a little more uniform decorum within the city council to utilize that 5-minute, limiting the members speaking to 5 minutes on any topic with, absent some leave, to return to this topic after other members have an opportunity to chime in on the subject. That's that. FOIA request, I have submitted several. Actually, I really haven't gotten a response to many of them. Seems to me that I never actually get mailed a copy, emailed responses, anything like that. I do know of certain entities that have been contacted by the clerk's office to provide responses to FOIA requests. It's my belief that those individuals have provided that information to the clerk's office. However, the clerk's office has not actually sent that information on out or notified of its availability. Has the city adopted something outside or beyond the state and federal guidelines as far as responding to FOIA requests?
Your request has been sitting in there since the business day that I have to have it available. I do not have to contact you that it's available. It's your responsibility because you've made the request. I have 3 days to get it ready for you, and it was ready. Now, let me finish.
No, let me finish.
No.
I would
hey,
like.
we're not gonna get into
I would like
this.
to see
We're
that
not
all.
gonna get into this. You can finish.
Absolutely. we can.
After the, if I cannot provide him with the information at 3 business days, then I can contact him and say, sir, I cannot provide you with that information. It will be with me in a couple of days. Will you extend that time? I do not have to inform him that it's done. There is a place, if he'd like to write on the bottom, contact me when this is finished, mail this to me. He just filled out the form, and it's been in there since.
So he didn't mark, send this to me or any of that stuff?
And his information's ready to pick up?
It's been on the bar since the final business day.
Well, that's about the most asinine, unprofessional thing that I've can think of.
Well, then you need to call the
Business,
Attorney
if you
General.
Communicate, if you do not communicate those
Do you have
things,
anything else?
no one can know. So, I'd like this council to review that, and if there's some improvement that could or should be made there, I would sure like to see some policy changes on that so that communication goes back out to individuals, especially citizens that these department heads especially, actually get paid by, and all of you represent. So a little
bit of civility to the citizens that this body represents would go a hell of a long way to mending bridges between this entity, police department, any means of authority or entities of authority to the public that you represent.
Well, we we follow under CORA, so the Kansas Open Records and Kansas Open Meetings. So
Absolutely.
those are the guidelines that we fall
Absolutely.
under, which I think is probably a step under
And
federal, I would
believe,
assume.
I believe there's been some lacking of the following of CORA. I do believe. If I'm wrong, I'll review it and I will update you.
Well-
If you're wrong, update me, send me something in writing.
I have no problem ever admitting when I'm wrong, because it happens a lot. So, your packets, or whatever it is, a binder, whatever it is available in the office too. Any other old business?
I'd like to know the status of Fourth Street.
Okay? So,
You want to open that up right now?
yeah,
So, that's under old business, we agreed to have Josh speak to Mr. Cantrell about coming up with a solution, and that's after we separated the repairs that were needed to the sewer, stormwater drains, right? And things of that nature.
Council
We
did.
separated all that, and then we wanted to just talk separately about the sliver of land on Fourth Street that needs to be, we need to figure out what we need to do there. And so we gave Mr. Reed the opportunity to go speak to Mr. Cantrell, and I'll let Mr. Reed talk to that.
Yeah, so I don't know if the mayor passed that information along to everybody, but to summarize it, it was 3 pieces of land up on Third Street near Bellevue, plus $10,000. The original thing was $6,000 payable by Friday, which that time's passed, but I called Mr. Cantrell and said,
Hey, Josh, can you speak up a little bit, please? So I can hear.
I'll try. I called Mr. Cantrell
Don't
back
blow
and
up
told
on
him that
Michelle.
we weren't gonna be able to have a special meeting. What was it, Thursday? It was Tuesday when we talked. He said he would agree to wait till today to discuss it this evening. But $10,000 to purchase that piece of land, in addition to the 3 pieces that we're not using now. And then all of the other realignment issues that we're already spoke about.
How many acres are in the land that he wants?
Well, I can get that for you. I didn't look at that.
Josh, I'd like to point out that your wording on that was to purchase that piece of property. That money's not necessarily for the purchasing of that piece of property. It has to do with the work that was done, literally, that's being utilized now.
The drainage, yeah.
Stormwater drainage.
I misspoke, Royce, and I do it all the time, and
Well,
I'll probably do it again this meeting.
I'm just pointing out that
Yeah, you're
it
right.
came out differently, so it's probably gonna be reported differently if it wasn't correct.
So that's that
Yes, sir.
concrete stormwater drainage that goes along your property with the telephone pilings.
What's that?
So that's that concrete stormwater drainage that it runs along your property with the
Not
telephone
only that,
piling.
has to do with the work that was literally done back in December and January that was invoiced for, which literally is being utilized as we discuss this now. So separating the issues really isn't feasible. It's all word salad either way. Basically it's a yes or no. So
Well, that's really
I
no
was
consequence
just
in
wanting
this
to point out
conversation.
to Josh, and I'm not meaning to interrupt him, so
So
please go ahead.
there is an agreement in place, correct?
Well, there's.
No, there's not.
That's what we're working on.
You're working on
Yeah.
it still.
Sorry, I got longer winded than I meant to there, Josh.
Okay,
You're fine,
so
I'm
we're
just
still working
calculating.
on an agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he's,
And when that agreement is done, there'll be, what, lot line adjustments and deed changes and everything will be legal and above board so that the next owner won't have this problem?
Right. If ever, yeah, that's what the hope is. Yes.
Well, it either is or it isn't.
Well, if it's agreed to, then yes. If it's not agreed to, then
No, I'm talking about when they come to an agreement. That will all be done legally?
Yeah, oh, yes,
above
yes,
board,
yes, yes.
and the lot line
right,
changes
right,
will be made
yes,
and all that.
yes,
Totally 100%.
yes. So it will be yes, like attorney work. We'll have everything written up. It can be filed. Like, yes,
Okay, I'll just keep checking on the status.
Yes.
We can even get bids on the surveys if we need to. 2.73 acres total. There's one is 0.94, one's 0.98, one's 0.81. They're all addressed as zeros, except for, let's see, 400 Bellevue is one, and then 5 zeros, Bellevue is one, and then there's two that's 5 zeros. They don't really have addresses. So 2.73 acres, $10,000. The other things that we already agreed on, and then we can get the road legally, the alignment legally re-platted, I guess.
Is there anything on those lots?
No.
Lots of,
There are some old, you're talking about utilities, there are probably some old utilities, they should run down the 3rd Street alignment, but there could be.
should be, well, we discussed this before, those were some that you were hoping to literally abandon or
The old
being
lines.
nice laid out,
Right.
because they're nothing but growing, well, that's the infamous Bellevue swamp area where water just constantly had been leaking for years with willow trees and cattails and
Mhm.
the like.
I haven't gone out there with, there's no survey stakes out there, but I think they're in what used to be the 3rd Street alignment. Those could be capped off, if we can figure out which way they come from.
There's really no,
There's no sewer there,
no knowledge
no
of where
electric.
they end at this point.
Nothing you can foresee needing the property for? Okay, so sounds like just under 3 acres and $10,000. What do you guys think?
Absolutely not. No money at all. I don't know when this is gonna stop of him trying to extort the city. This is really getting out of hand.
Part of this money is for an
All
invoice
of the
that we.
invoices and everything
Can
that
we
he
get,
has
can the
sent.
city, can the council members be able to have a conversation about this?
All the
and not get
invoices that
interrupted.
he had invoiced the city for and stuff, he had no
Not what I'm
POs.
getting
He had
at.
no permission to do the work that he claims that he does. It's crazy. All he is doing is, in my opinion, is total extortion against the city.
And I say that's disparaging against my character. and
So,
that's
So-
no problem.
so I was under the impression that the 10,000 was for that concrete work that he did on the stormwater runoff. I'm still at a loss as to what the 10,000 is
I
actually
am
for.
too. Was he told to do that? Was he told? he
Well,
would pay?
whether he was
Was
told to do
told that
that or
he had-
not,
he
I
had to
was
do
just
that.
focused on that,
he-
Linda. I just thought that that's what that was for, was that drainage. But now Mr. Cantrell's saying it's for something completely different. And I'm really not sure what all that entails, what that $10,000 is for, because I don't wanna pay an invoice for something that I don't agree to that he's quote-unquote performed,
I think
other than
this should
something I
all
can
be put
physically
aside
see.
Until our attorney is present.
I think that's a good idea.
Is that,
If that's,
I make a motion
That's
to
fine,
table
but
this
tonight was
conversation
what I
and stuff
agreed to
until
wait
the city attorney is present.
okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Watkins to table the conversation until our attorney is back.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Latourner. All in favor? Any opposed? Paul, you still there?
Yes.
Okay. Did you vote on that?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
did have a timeline on that offer, just so you guys are aware.
that's,
Okay.
it's done. The conversation can't happen now.
Okay.
Okay, any other old business? Okay.
What are
Uh,
we gonna do about 4th Street? I think that was still the question on the table, since
That
we're
should be
not
something
gonna
up
do
when the
this.
attorney comes back.
She hasn't, okay.
Okay. Old business. Okay. I've got two things. I had somebody reach out on a noise complaint, and we set noise ordinance, 2 years ago? A couple years ago. But anyway, I think the neighbors are recently new there, and I guess they're not very respectful. And I couldn't gather from the information if it was if it was really where we are set in, but it doesn't really sound like it, because I think, did we do 10 p.m. to 6 p.m., something like that? Do you remember?
It's different. I'll pull it up.
With the exception of lawn equipment.
Of lawn equipment, yeah, because Lisa knows that. She gets. Anyway, their request was to at least consider maybe pushing it up earlier, earlier in the evening, not earlier in the morning, but earlier in the evening. I said I would just bring it to you guys because they said I think both get up early. It sounds like I can go to work. This was just all through messages. They said they've tried approaching their neighbors and they just, didn't get very far with that. So.
What kind of noise are they talking about?
Well, they said music. They said they blare stereos but.
Where was it at, actually? General vicinity.
I think she said around Dewey.
Because at midnight the other night, I heard loud music coming through the trees.
Was it the weekend, though?
Yeah, Saturday night.
That's just a joke, Michelle. So, I don't know if that's something you want to look into. I know I'm not speaking for the chief, but I think it's hard to really crack down on noise ordinance because I don't know how they handle it or if they even get any calls on it. But, they have to get a call and then go catch people, while it's I don't know. So I don't know if that would be worth it considering, but maybe something to think about. I could give some of you the names if you want to reach out to them. I don't know whose word would that be. I guess it could be multiple because I could look back again and give whoever's ward it is their name so you could get maybe more information, whoever that is. But anyway, I said I would.
Dewey's probably Mr. West.
Mr. West. Okay. If it is, I'll get you the
Dewey?
resident's name to see. Okay. My other thing is on the ARPA funds, and I emailed a little bit ago a picture to you all. I think everybody but Lisa. I don't think I had her. Well, I have her school email. I could have done that. But the fire chief submitted a request for ARPA. So last year he did half. So it's for air packs. And he made a whole spreadsheet here. If you want to say anything about it. Do you want to say anything about it?
No, our air packs are basically at the end of this year. They're gonna basically be at the end of their lifestyle with NFPA. So the last air packs that we got through a FEMA grant. So we didn't have to use any city money. So we decided instead of trying to bite it off and go brand new, which you're probably talking close to $400,000 to $500,000 to equip everything, we would try to split it up into two different lump sums since we knew we were getting ARPA funds 2 different years. So that's what we did last year was we outfitted the 3 engines, and then this year we're looking to try to finish up the project to do the rescue truck and both tankers. So, and then included in that would be for the new rescue too, the pickup that would have 4 in it. I think the total was around, and I think we can shave off about 5,000. I think the total was what, 84?
89.
89, so I think we can get it down to about 84 if we did it.
So these are what you use to go into fires? I know that's weird, but yeah, I guess. And then we had talked, I think Neil was still on last year when we talked about this maybe. But we had talked about maybe refurbishing them, little by little as the years go on, because how long I don't know how long they last.
20 years.
Oh, so yeah.
They're at the end of their life.
Yep. And we did talk about that when Neil brought that up, by going to a refurbished air pack, which we're doing new bottles in a refurbished pack, we can actually start a program in probably 10 years to where we can just start doing part of them at a time and not have that big gap.
So that's his request. What do you think?
So you're wanting to spread How many $100,000 amount are we talking about?
No, yeah,
89.
like
Okay.
85.
It'd be about 84. Cause we can knock about another 5,000 off of that with some discounts and some, turn in some of our old tags.
I'm saying 138,000.
You have to click over.
Click
to
on the
2022.
2022 tab.
Oh,
Sorry.
I mean,
I did the same thing, Bob.
well, I think it's necessary.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it. People to be able to come and rescue people out of fires and put fires out and protect the firefighter. I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. West.
Second.
I'm gonna use Nancy because she.
Go ahead.
Second by Nancy Flint to purchase the air packs out of ARPA funds. I said funny, money and funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Steve, can you send me that information?
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Ms. Watkins,
Second.
second by Mr. West. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, y'all. Have a blessed night.
You too.